York's Central Park is an urban oasis for Manhattan neighbors and tourists alike. And for Addison Pusateri, it's one of his favorite places to decompress.
It's definitely laid back. It's never too crowded in one place because there's so many places that you can go. There's people riding their bikes by, joggers. There's a bunch of tourists and a bunch of neighbors, and everyone is really calm, cool, and collected.
But while out, enjoying a leisurely afternoon, Addison and his boyfriend get a rude awakening.
There was a musician singing. She was very soft, serene.
The singer's performance isn't music to everyone's ears.
A man with his dog walks up and starts yelling at her, telling her she's ruining his walk. I started recording, I think, at this point. My boyfriend is feeling really bad for her. So he goes up and gives her a $20 bill. And as he's giving her the money, the man yelling at her kind of directs his anger at my boyfriend.
Oh, no, neither is she. She's not supposed to be here. Now go about your business and mind your own damn business.
To insult the local neighbors to the fullest extent, he resorts to calling them the worst name of all.
You're tourists. You're here for 5 minutes. You don't live here.
Before Addison can jump to his boyfriend's defense, his New York neighbors do it for him as he records the action.
All day long. Neighborhood. Do you have to listen to this every day? Okay? She's not supposed to be here.
Grace, shut the up and go to your country house.
You should mind your own damn. You should mind yours.
More people kept getting involved until it was almost like a whole crowd versus this man who's just berating this woman still, as everyone's telling him, you should leave.
Instead of taking a hint, the indignant neighbor doubles down and tries to unplug the singer's amp.
I don't know if he's gonna try and break her equipment. It's really kind of tense at this moment.
You're a jackass, dude.
Leave. Go away.
You got nothing better to do?
I'm retired. I live here. My dog wants to be in the car. I have nothing better to do. What I don't want to do is have to listen to her for once.
To put an end to the ornery neighbor's onslaught, the performer gives in and agrees to turn down the volume.
I can see it in her eyes. She's had enough, and she starts playing music again, and it becomes kind of a soundtrack to him arguing with people.
Leave. Leave.
The neighbor finally retreats, but not without a foreboding promise.
I'll be back.
Okay, bye, Karen. Have a great day.
As for Addison, he is happy he didn't need to physically get involved, so he could capture the neighbor's irrational interaction.
I am relieved for the musician, and I am happy to have seen so many people come to her defense. The people in New York do still have heart, and they jump in to defend whoever's the victim of the situation.
Shut the up and go to your country house.
Dallas, Georgia. It's 3 p.m. Samantha Lee and her neighbors are gathered, like they do every school day, at the neighborhood bus stop, waiting to pick up their young children.
It's a large bus stop. A lot of kids get off at this bus stop, and a lot of parents are there waiting for their kids.
But today, there's a substitute driver, a middle-aged woman who is not letting the children off the bus. Concerned, Samantha begins recording as her 9-year-old daughter Chloe and her 5-year-old son Carter are inside.
She's not letting us off.
It was like, why was she not letting the kids off the bus?
What the hell is she doing?
Who is she talking to?
The driver looks agitated as she shouts into the bus's radio, and it worries the parents.
I'm feeling very confused and scared, to be honest with you.
And now, a mundane daily routine starts to get uncomfortable when all of a sudden,
Come on, baby.
the driver takes off.
What the Hey! Hey!
When the bus stops at the end of the street, Samantha gets in front of it to prevent the driver from leaving again.
Absolutely not! Did somebody call the police yet?
Samantha and the other parents feel helpless as they wait for police to arrive.
Right, what's going on? I have a situation.
Okay.
I have kids that don't have any documents on their.
Okay, my son is
But they've been doing it for the same routine.
She said that some kids didn't have documentation to get off of the bus, but my daughter didn't need documentation to get off of the bus. She was 9 years old.
While the driver claims to be following protocol, the parents are frustrated because she won't release any kids, even children whose parents are there in person to meet them.
Okay, what's going on?
The cops are on their way.
Okay.
The driver eventually opens the door, and a few of the worried parents rush on to retrieve their kids.
Chloe, get off the bus.
But things quickly turn ugly when the driver allegedly pushes one of the parents, and the parent slaps her.
Are you nuts?
Clearly stunned, the driver suddenly slams the door shut and puts her foot on the gas.
She definitely put the kids' safety at risk. There were so many things in that moment that was going through my head. I was very pissed off. You don't keep a child away from their parents.
An older sibling of a child inside the bus chases after it and jumps through an open window.
Open the door! Open the door!
I went into Mama Bear mode and stopped the bus again by standing in front of it again a second time. And that time I wasn't gonna move until the police got there.
Ma'am, please let our kids off the bus!
At this point, she wasn't opening the door again. So in order to get their kids off the bus, they were pulling the children off of the bus from the side windows.
Samantha's oldest child, Chloe, is among the lucky students who are able to get off the bus.
How did you get off? Where's Kennedy? We got out the window. Up over there.
It was a completely different type of relief I never knew that I needed when my children got off of the bus.
Thankfully, police arrive moments later.
Nuts. I have it on video from the beginning, sir. She didn't want to let the kids off the bus.
After speaking privately with the driver, police finally release the remaining children to their much relieved parents. Police charge both the driver and the parent who slapped her with simple assault. After an investigation, the school fires the driver for numerous violations that jeopardized student safety. While the incident is traumatic for all those involved, Samantha says there's a silver lining to the story.
This situation has definitely brought our neighborhood together. We protect each other's kids, and we all had each other's backs that day.
And despite the ordeal of the day, Samantha won't let it change her family.
You would think that I wouldn't allow my children to ride the bus again after this crazy incident. But yes, they are back on the bus with their original driver. I just think this was like a freak accident. I don't think this would ever happen again.
Donata Banks has been living in a family neighborhood with her husband Corey for 6 years. When new neighbors, 26-year-old Luvia, her husband Miguel, and their 3 daughters move in across the street, they soon become friends.
We actually just got along very well. We would sit out there and talk. They would offer beer to us, and we would get drinks out there with them.
We thought, oh, what a nice couple moving in. But the first thing out of the husband's mouth was, how well did we know their neighbors to the right of them? And we had to tell them we knew them pretty well, unfortunately.
According to Donata, the married couple who live near Luvia and her husband are problem neighbors.
They would accuse us of all kinds of things. She's shouting obscenities. Someone's working on my house. She's calling the police.
Soon after they move in, Luvia claims that the neighbors start making racist comments.
Go back to Mexico.
So Luvia starts recording.
I'm actually Mexican, so I have always been proud of it. My whole life, I lived here in Indianapolis. I never experienced racism against me. Purchasing the home was the worst decision of my life.
One evening, when Luvia is walking on what she thinks is her front yard, Luvia says the neighbor starts yelling at her.
Get off my property. Get your fat ass off my property.
I am on my property.
It turns out that the neighbors think that 2 feet of Luvia's yard belongs to them. And as Luvia and her family don't have a fence marking their boundary, it becomes a constant issue. One afternoon, the neighbor becomes angry that Luvia's husband is mowing the contested part of the yard.
Mexican's gonna be dead.
And she turns her attention to Luvia and Donata, who are sitting on Luvia's porch.
When she tells me I'm gonna wrap the water hose around your neck, I'm feeling terrified, I'm feeling scared.
You feel like nothing's safe anymore. So yeah, I was really scared.
The police are called several times, and they advise Luvia to put no trespassing signs on the strip of land she believes to be part of her yard.
My neighbor would remove the no trespassing signs and throw them on my driveway. We didn't have proof it was her, but it was obviously her.
A few months later, Donata is sitting outside her house, across the street, when she sees the other neighbor confronting Luvia and her husband. So, Donata starts recording.
Get that sign out of my yard, you piece of trash.
I just had a feeling that something was about to happen.
Suddenly, the neighbor marches toward Luvia and Miguel in a fury.
When she throws the sign at my husband, I can see the anger in her eyes, in my husband's eyes, and I don't know what's gonna happen next.
Touch me, I'll kill you.
Let her.
Calm
let
down.
her. Let her. Let her.
Calm down.
Let her. Let her.
Calm down.
Let her.
Hey.
Let her. No, let her.
Trash.
Let her.
It was very shocking. I never thought it was ever going to get, physical. It was actually terrifying.
Call the police.
Hey.
I've already called the police.
Okay, let the police come out here.
This was supposed to be the best time of my life, being first-time homeowners, and it was just so horrible.
The neighbors, Donata and Corey, are watching from across the street, and when the angry neighbor notices, she turns on them too.
Go back in your house.
Do it.
And they are scared.
I am worried for my neighbor's safety, everyone's safety. We're in the fear on a daily of walking out to our house, to our car.
When the police arrive, the neighbor is arrested and charged with trespassing, battery, and assault. The charges are later dismissed. However, when the video goes viral, 20 other neighbors come forward and complain to the HOA that the neighbor also harassed them. After an investigation, the HOA asked the problem neighbors to sell. But it's Donata and the Fair Housing Center of Indiana who take the neighbor to court for racial discrimination.
It makes me very sad to think about how she made us feel. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
The neighbor loses the case and is ordered to pay total damages of $225,000 for harassment and taunting people based on their race and national origin.
I never let her see me cry. I let her pay for what she did, and she's going to pay.
When the new neighbors move in, they have no issue with the boundary line.
It felt like I could live in peace. My kid could go outside and play. So it just felt great. I mean, it just felt like a beautiful, normal home.
Now, all the neighbors enjoy cookouts and socializing with one another.
It's nice to have Donata and her husband as neighbors because they're always there for us. This incident brings the whole neighborhood together. So everybody's happy now.
It's almost evening in Cleveland when two local officers respond to a call from a homeowner whose neighbor has somehow, bizarrely, crashed a car into his own house. But the situation is much more serious than that.
Yeah, don't go back there.
And what's worse, the neighbor is standing just feet away from the inferno.
Sir! Ooh! Why'd you step over this way?
Your car's on fire! Your car's on fire!
Despite their pleas, the disoriented neighbor doesn't budge.
Okay, radio. We also have a male in the backyard, but he won't come away from the car, and I don't want to go any closer to the car.
But that's not their only worry.
I'm gonna tell these neighbors to get out. Their house is gonna catch.
The fire is spreading fast. The officers alert the local fire department, and now it's a race against time to warn the next-door neighbors.
Cleveland, please! There's a current next to the house. I just want to make sure that we can get the house catching on fire, okay? Okay. Okay.
Hearing the commotion, the disoriented neighbor of the car finally walks out.
Are you okay? Hey, are you high? Are you drunk? You okay? What? What's going on? Get over here by this car.
The man is detained, but then the cops get some alarming news.
There's no house, but I don't know if she's really. 22-7. The neighbor said that there's an old woman that does live in this house.
And the officers need to get inside before the entire house is engulfed in flames.
Go, go, go.
This the... You have a baton?
No, I don't have one on me.
Watch out. All right.
Every second they can't get inside could be the difference between this neighbor's life or death.
The house is on fire too, guys.
Is it?
Yeah.
As explosions go off in the background, they finally get the door open. Luckily, after a quick search of the property, the officers are relieved to discover that nobody is home, and the fire department arrives to extinguish the blaze before it can spread to one of the neighboring houses. But the damage is already done, not only to the neighboring properties, but also to the car that is now toast.
Holy plate burnt to a crisp yet. Can you see the bin? At all? 4 days. And it was in perfect condition. Yeah, perfect.
The man that the police believe is responsible for the blaze is taken to the hospital for further evaluation. Pending further investigation, the fire is treated as an accident. And luckily for everyone in the neighborhood, there is no loss of life after this unusual incident. Firefighters are some of the strongest and most courageous of our community members. And when they're not fighting fires in the neighborhood, even the bravest of the brave have to eat. But when this local firehouse is loading up groceries, a neighbor comes up, not to commend their fearlessness, but to complain about how his taxes are spent.
I know you guys cannot do anything about the fire tax. I have to pay extra. Yes, sir. You drive all the way down here. Why don't you guys shop there at the local store? We do.
The firemen awkwardly load their groceries as the neighbor scolds them for taking their truck to an out-of-town supermarket.
I'm going to go in front of the board of supervisors and make a complaint.
The man looks over to another neighbor recording for some support.
I'm glad you're taking pictures.
Yeah, because I definitely don't support you.
But the man recording is backing the firefighters.
You ought to just leave them be because they're just trying to make a living and trying to get their food.
But
man.
I'm paying for them to be down here on the clock.
That's okay with me, and I pay taxes too.
The firemen pay for their own groceries and have to stretch their dollar to buy food for the whole firehouse.
Why do they drive all the way downtown? They could shop there at the local store right around the corner.
Why would you want to pay double?
The store around the corner from the station is a gourmet market with higher prices.
Why would you want to pay double?
Well, why do I want to pay for the fuel, the maintenance on this vehicle, and everything else? It's ridiculous for the taxpayers.
Sir, we have to go. Is there anything else we can do? You're wasting their time right now.
Not do anything else.
Before the firemen leave, the neighbor makes sure to document everyone and everything.
You're on a
I will
public
take
street.
a picture of your vehicle right now.
Go right ahead.
Sir, you have a nice day. If there's nothing else we can do.
I got you. I got you. I got you. Got you.
Sir, there is a form at our headquarters station
Your license too.
where you can file a citizen's complaint.
I will file a citizen's complaint, and I hope you put this on the news too.
It doesn't make the news, but the clip does get posted online, where it goes viral, racking up more than 1 million views.
This is totally ridiculous.
I understand. If there's anything else we can do for you, please let us know.
No, thank you.
All right. Hope you enjoy your day, sir.
As for the disgruntled neighbor, he reportedly has yet to file a complaint at the fire station, leading neighbors to believe he's found something else to complain about.
I got you too, you.
And I got you too.